Turkey's knocking on BRICS' door and the EU is sweating. Why? Because Turkey's not just any country. It's a key NATO ally and a major trading partner. Let's look at what this means for global politics. Turkey's journey to join the EU started way back in 1987. That's right. It's been almost 40 years. Can you believe it? Other countries like Austria, Finland, and Sweden joined in less than 2 years. So what's the holdup with Turkey? Here's the thing. Turkey has opened 16 out of 35 chapters needed for EU membership, but guess what? They've only closed one. That's some slow progress, right? It's like they're stuck in first gear while other countries are zooming ahead. So why has Turkey's path been so much longer and harder than others? That's what we're going to find out in this video. Stay tuned as we unpack this complex situation and what it means for Turkey, the EU, and global politics. As we explore Turkey's path to the EU, a surprising factor emerges. What if the biggest obstacle isn't in Turkey's policies, but in the hearts and minds of Europeans? The numbers tell a story that might shock you. Turkey's journey to join the European Union has been long and filled with challenges. While political and economic issues play a role, there's a deeper, more personal factor at play. It's not just about meeting criteria or ticking boxes, it's about cultural acceptance. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: Turkey's predominantly Muslim population. Many Europeans see this as incompatible with their secular and liberal values. It's a sensitive topic, but it's crucial to understanding the situation. This cultural unease has become a significant roadblock on Turkey's path to EU membership. The numbers paint a clear picture. In France, 68% of citizens oppose Turkey joining the EU. That's more than 2/3 of the population. But wait, it gets even more dramatic. In Austria, a whopping 80% of people are against Turkey's membership. That's 8 out of 10 Austrians saying no to Turkey in the EU. These high levels of opposition reflect deeper fears among Europeans. Some worry about the potential for Islamization of their societies. Others are concerned about the impact of immigration if Turkey joins. These fears, whether justified or not, have a real impact on Turkey's EU prospects. But cultural differences aren't the only obstacle. Turkey faces several other challenges in its EU bid. There are ongoing concerns about democratic issues and human rights in the country. The EU has strict standards in these areas, and Turkey has struggled to meet them consistently. Another major sticking point is the Cyprus issue. The long-standing tensions related to Cyprus continue to complicate Turkey's relationship with the EU. It's a complex geopolitical puzzle that hasn't been solved despite years of negotiations. The failed coup attempt in 2016 added another layer of complexity to Turkey's EU journey. The aftermath of this event raised new questions about Turkey's political stability and its commitment to democratic values. As a result, negotiations have largely stagnated since 2019. Despite all these challenges, it's important to remember that Turkey isn't just any country trying to join the EU. It's a key player in European trade and a vital NATO ally. This makes Turkey's relationship with the EU complex and incredibly important. Turkey's strategic position means that even with all these obstacles, the EU can't simply ignore it. The country's role in regional security, its economic ties with Europe, and its potential as a bridge between East and West all factor into the equation. While the EU debates, Turkey isn't standing still. What if there was another group of nations eager to welcome Turkey into their fold? Enter BRICS, and Turkey's unexpected pivot that's sending shockwaves through Europe. In a bold move that's caught many by surprise, Turkey has recently applied to join BRICS, a powerful economic alliance comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This decision marks a significant shift in Turkey's foreign policy, potentially reshaping its global influence and economic partnerships beyond the EU framework. Turkey's growing interest in BRICS isn't just talk. The numbers tell a compelling story. In 2023, Turkey's trade with China alone reached a staggering $39 billion. That's a lot of money changing hands. But here's where it gets interesting. Turkey's imports from China totaled around $33 billion, while its exports were only about $3.28 billion. This imbalance shows just how dominant China has become in Turkey's import market. But China isn't the only BRICS nation Turkey's cozying up to. Let's look at Russia, for example. In 2023, trade between Turkey and Russia hit $9.34 billion. A big chunk of this relationship revolves around energy, with Turkey heavily relying on Russian supplies. It's not just about money. This trade relationship has serious geopolitical implications. And let's not forget Brazil. Turkey's trade with this South American giant reached $6 billion in 2023. That's a clear sign that Turkey is serious about diversifying its economic partnerships beyond its traditional Western allies. Now, you might be wondering, why is this such a big deal for the EU? Well, Turkey's pivot towards BRICS is causing quite a stir in Brussels. EU officials are getting nervous, and for good reason. They're worried that this move could lead to a significant loss of geopolitical leverage for Europe. Remember, Turkey isn't just any country. It's a key NATO ally and sits at a crucial strategic crossroads between Europe and Asia. The EU has long relied on its economic ties with Turkey to maintain influence in the region. But now, with Turkey cozying up to BRICS, that influence could be slipping away. There's another aspect that's got EU officials biting their nails. They're concerned that Turkey's alignment with BRICS could undermine its commitment to Western values, like democracy and human rights. These values have always been a sticking point in Turkey's EU membership bid, and now they're becoming even more of a concern. But here's the thing. Turkey's BRICS move isn't just about economics or geopolitics. It's a strategic play that positions Turkey as a significant player in a multipolar world. By strengthening ties with BRICS nations, Turkey is showing that it's not putting all its eggs in the EU basket. This gives Turkey more leverage in international relations and potentially strengthens its hand in ongoing negotiations with the EU. So what does all this mean for Turkey's long-standing EU dream? Well, it's complicated. On one hand, Turkey's BRICS pivot could be seen as a sign that it's losing patience with the slow pace of EU negotiations. On the other hand, it could be a clever strategy to show the EU that Turkey has other options, potentially spurring the EU to take Turkey's membership bid more seriously. Turkey's flirtation with BRICS has stirred up a hornet's nest in Brussels. Now, the EU faces a tough question. How do you keep a friend who's looking for new friends? The answer might surprise you. In 2024, we're seeing a significant shift in the EU's approach to Turkey. The European Union is stepping up its game, launching a high-level dialogue on trade to address barriers and modernize the 1996 customs union. This move shows that the EU is serious about strengthening its economic ties with Turkey. But why this sudden interest? Well, the numbers speak for themselves. In 2023, trade between the EU and Turkey hit a whopping 206 billion euros. That's a lot of money changing hands. It's clear that Turkey isn't just any trading partner, it's a major player in the EU's economic landscape. The EU's renewed focus on Turkey isn't just about money, though. It's a strategic move in a complex geopolitical game. With Turkey cozying up to BRICS nations, the EU is trying to maintain its influence. They're walking a tightrope, balancing their desire to keep Turkey close, while still addressing ongoing concerns about democracy and human rights. This balancing act is no easy feat. On one hand, the EU wants to use its economic leverage to influence Turkey's policies. On the other hand, they can't push too hard and risk pushing Turkey further into the arms of BRICS. It's a delicate dance, and the EU is trying to find the right steps. One interesting development is the European Investment Bank's decision to resume operations in Turkey. This move is aimed at supporting Turkey's economic recovery and helping reintegrate it into EU markets. It's a clear sign that the EU is willing to put its money where its mouth is when it comes to keeping Turkey in its orbit. But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite all the concerns about Turkey's democratic backsliding and human rights issues, the EU seems to be prioritizing strategic interests over these concerns. It's a pragmatic approach that suggests Turkey's geopolitical importance outweighs its shortcomings in the eyes of European leaders. This shift in EU strategy raises some big questions. Is the EU compromising its values for the sake of geopolitical stability? Or is this a smart move to keep Turkey engaged and potentially influence its policies through closer economic ties? The answers to these questions will shape the future of EU-Turkey relations. As we look ahead, it's clear that the EU-Turkey relationship is entering a new phase. The EU's efforts to strengthen trade ties and rekindle economic cooperation show that they're not ready to give up on Turkey just yet. But will it be enough to counter the allure of BRICS? That's the big question on everyone's mind. Turkey's trade figures tell a story of ambition and strategy. With deals worth billions spanning from Europe to the Middle East, Turkey isn't just playing the field, it's rewriting the rules. Could this balancing act be the key to Turkey's global influence? Turkey's economic diplomacy is reaching new heights, and it's not just about the EU or BRICS anymore. The country is expanding its trade relationships in all directions, leveraging its unique position as a bridge between East and West. Let's look at some impressive numbers that show Turkey's growing economic clout. In 2024, Turkey's trade with the United Arab Emirates hit a whopping $15 billion. That's a significant jump from $10 billion in 2022. But Turkey's not stopping there. It's also strengthening ties with Saudi Arabia, with trade volume reaching $6.8 billion in 2023. And here's the kicker. Turkey aims to boost this figure to $30 billion in the medium term. That's some serious economic ambition. These expanding trade relationships aren't just about money, they're part of a clever strategy that positions Turkey as a key player in global trade. By building strong economic ties with countries in different regions, Turkey is creating a network of partnerships that could give it significant leverage on the world stage. Turkey's geographic location is a big part of this strategy. Sitting at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, Turkey is uniquely positioned to act as a hub for trade between different regions. It's not just about being a physical bridge, though. Turkey's cultural ties to both East and West allow it to understand and navigate different business cultures, making it an attractive partner for countries in various regions. But Turkey's not just looking east. In the first quarter of 2024, trade between Turkey and Iran amounted to about $1.36 billion. Turkey's exports to Iran even increased by 16% compared to the previous year. This shows that Turkey is casting a wide net, building relationships with diverse partners. The focus on countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia is particularly interesting. These nations are investing heavily in various sectors, from technology to renewable energy and defense. By strengthening ties with these countries, Turkey is positioning itself to benefit from their economic growth and diversification efforts. Turkey's ambitious trade goals show it's thinking big. The aim to surpass $1 billion in trade volume with Saudi Arabia in the short term is just one example of Turkey's determination to boost its economic relationships. And with UAE investments in Turkey exceeding $50 billion, it's clear that these partnerships are more than just talk. They're backed by serious financial commitments. So what does all this mean for Turkey's relationships with the EU and BRICS? Well, it suggests that Turkey isn't putting all its eggs in one basket. Instead, it's creating a diverse portfolio of economic partnerships that could give it more flexibility and influence in its dealings with major economic blocs. This strategy could potentially increase Turkey's global influence. By positioning itself as a vital link in various trade networks, Turkey could become an indispensable partner for countries and blocs around the world. This could give Turkey more bargaining power in international negotiations and a stronger voice on the global stage. Turkey's journey to join the EU has been long and complex, spanning over 40 years. Recently, Turkey's pivot toward BRICS has shaken things up, causing the EU to reassess its approach. While full EU membership seems unlikely soon, both sides recognize the importance of their relationship. The EU has launched new initiatives to strengthen economic ties with Turkey, showing it's not ready to give up on this strategic partnership. Meanwhile, Turkey is expanding its trade relationships globally, from the Middle East to Asia. This balancing act between East and West could be the key to Turkey's growing global influence. As Turkey continues to build ties with diverse partners, it raises an important question. Will this create a new model of international cooperation, or will Turkey find itself caught between competing interests? The answer could reshape global politics for years to come.